Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here, Clear Lake Guide Service with your lake and condition reports for Clear Lake in Northern California for October 20th, 2022. That's a lot of information. Hopefully I got it all right this time. I think I blew it last time. I'm going to try to splice together at the end of today's video. I shot a video when it launched this morning just to kind of show a little bit about how much room is left on the ramp at 5th Street. So those of you who are interested, if you stick around to the end, I should have that spliced together if everything goes right. I'm not a WizKid editor, so okay. So as you can see, it was a beautiful day here today on Clear Lake. I think it was supposed to get up to 90. Started out cold, 44, 45 at my house. So, but I'll tell you what, this afternoon, it's been beautiful. It's a little creepy driving around out here, and I've seen 2 boats today. So that says something in itself. All right, let's jump right into it. Lake level. Lake level did not change much. You know, I think the cooler nights and a little bit cooler temperatures are helping a little bit. It's like minus 2.37. We'll round it off and call it minus 2.4 for those of you who, get this report later in the week. That'll probably be dead on, but not a very significant change from the previous week. So it's been going down about 0.15 per week. Not too bad this week, and I have to attribute it to the cooler temperatures. Water clarity, there is none. Best water I've seen all day is where I'm sitting right now, which is pretty much out in the middle of the lake, and the color looks decent. It's got a greenish color to it, and I could probably see about a foot. I've been all the way down to halfway down to Rattlesnake this week, and all the way down to Redbud this week. And actually the water doesn't look that bad. Like I said last week, water is actually looking pretty good. Even down around Redbud, I obviously didn't go to the launch ramp, but I was at Bass Alley right across from it, and little bit of a streaky algae bloom on top, but it definitely wasn't bad. It wasn't something that balled up your reels or anything like that. So overall condition of the water, not bad. You'd like to see it a little bit clearer for this time of year, but sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. Let's see, clarity, depth, temperature. We started out this morning at 5th Street, 67 degrees in the morning. As I sit here this afternoon, it's 74. So most of where I got around today, it was hanging around 70, 71. If you got into an area that was protected, you can't tell it right now, but there was a breeze this morning, and I had about 4 more layers of clothes on than I have right now. So now I'm down to finally shorts and a t-shirt, and it feels pretty darn good. So water temperature kind of all over the board around the lake. Upcoming activities. You know what? Some of you asked me, I'm just not going to even get into what I saw from Fish and Wildlife. I don't know what's going on. What I've seen so far, there was a New Gen Team Championship scheduled for this coming weekend here, and that has been moved to, I believe it was January 27th and 28th, or 26th, 27th. It's the end of January in 2023. So there'll actually be 2 team TOCs for New Gen next year. One in January to wrap up 22, and then one in 23 for the 23 season. So I don't think there's going to be anything of any consequence the rest of the month. And there's really not a whole lot in November. So, and that's probably a good thing depending on, who you are, how the fishing actually is. So there's the activities. Launch ramp. There's only one that's really usable, and that is 5th Street in Lakeport. It's still good. Based on my boat, which is a 20-footer tandem axle, I'm going to say that I've got at least another foot of length on the launch ramp before I get into trouble. So a 21-footer, you might be pushing it a little bit close. Just according to the ramp monitor there, almost every week somebody gets into trouble on that ramp just for going too deep. So just be careful, you'll be okay. All the other launch ramps are actually quote unquote closed to be used by boats and trailers, although they're not barricaded. So don't be fooled if you haven't been here for a while and you show up, you go to your favorite launch ramp. We'll say Clear Lake Oaks as an example. There's no barricades there that are blocking that off. So, it's use at your own risk. You could very well pull up there thinking, oh, it must be okay. And it's not. So that's the only launch ramp. I did hear from somebody last week who said that Brados closed off their launch ramp. This guy was in a smaller bass boat, and he had been launching there until this last week, and he was told when he launched this past week that was going to be the last time they were going to close it off. Now again, anywhere you see a launch ramp, you can launch a kayak, a canoe, any of that kind of stuff, and probably a car topper without being in trouble. So it's going to be this way for probably, there's no foreseeable rain in the future. So I'm hoping that the launch ramp at 5th Street will still be usable until mid-November, and that sometime between now and then we actually get enough rain to do some good, maybe kick up the lake a little bit. So just pulling out of 5th Street, launching is not really the big deal. There's only about 2 feet of water out from the launch ramp out way past the 5-mile-an-hour buoy. I'm probably idling past the red and green buoys. I'm idling past the 5-mile-an-hour buoys, and I'm probably at least another 50 to 75 yards out before it drops off to about 4 feet, and that's where I power up. It's also where I shut down coming in. So I think that's all the information as far as the ramps, the conditions, and all that stuff. There's still a couple of organizations who haven't posted their 23 permits yet. BBT, Future Pro are the two main ones. One Bass moved its spring open into September. As far as I know, we're still going to have what we all call the Record B tournament, the big team tournament in March. That's usually around the 18th. It's usually the weekend that the time changes. The Toyota Series, that whole MLF group, they don't have a tournament here this next year. So as it stands right now, the only two hanging out there, like I said, are BBT and Future Pro Tour. New Gen grabbed quite a few dates for team events, and they've got a handful going on. The other one that I have not seen posted yet is ABA. I'm sorry for that, I forgot that. So ABA is the other one. So ABA, Future Pro, and BBT. We're still waiting to hear when they're going to post theirs. So, that's about it. Fishing, I would have told you that it was getting pretty good, but then I fished today. And I really scratched for the fish that I caught. What I'll say about fishing right now, there's a lot of disagreement about what's going on with the lake. Some people say that there's a real problem with fishery. Some people say, nope, no problem, plenty of fish. We just haven't found them yet. I'm going to hold to my own belief, which is there's a problem with fishery. The people who feel that there is no problem with the fishery, the fish are just somewhere that we're not finding, that's their belief, and that's fine. And you know what? One of them I talked to this week on purpose, I saw him and I tracked him down and asked him that question, and he can back it up with some 6 and 7 and 8 pound fish. So there's at least one guy that says, nope, there's no problem. There's just they're just in different places, and some of them we just haven't found. So the thing that I will say is, when you catch a fish this fall, man, they're in good shape. They're really, really clean. They're fat. They're healthy. They look good. So that part is good. It's just, you know, there's a lot of inconsistency between fishermen right now as to how many fish people are catching. So I'll even use myself as an example. I mean, one day out of the last 3 days out, you know, one day we have 11 fish, one day we have 6. No idea. Wish I could say. Although I can say that today's first day we didn't catch a catfish. So, all right, that's it. We should be able to see you next week. And again, don't forget, I'll tag that video on the end of this one. Talk to y'all later. Hey, so here's what it looks like at the launch ramp at 5th Street. There's the line. My boat has just floated off. You can't really see it, but the back of my fender is right there. So we're talking about a foot or thereabouts.